All right, so good morning, everyone. Jose J. Garcia. I'm a real estate investor, coach, and mentor. On this podcast this morning, I have a very special guest. And when I say special guest, you hear why as we get into the call. But this young individual is out of Burleson, Texas. He is the founder at Premier Outdoor Movies, as you see his background. He is a real estate investor. He's a speaker. He is a serial entrepreneur. And glad to have him on my podcast. So, Wade McCrory, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I saw you a week ago. Has it been a week ago?
Yeah, it's been over a week now.
Time
It's
moves,
crazy.
yeah. Yeah, a couple weeks ago over in Anaheim, California. So we were there for
hmm
the event. So Wade, I've known you for a little bit now here. We're part of the same organizations. We have similar coaches, mentors, and we're into kind of the same thing. We almost had a chance to do a deal with you, which is one of the deals you pitched as well. So you
hmm
definitely the real deal. You're legit. So, but for those that are joining us on here, a lot more people on here as well. Tell us about you.
Well, I don't even know where to start. The the past several years have been really interesting. I It's crazy to say, but back in high school, I used to work for Chick-fil-A, and everybody pretty much knows that franchise. But worked for them for 5 years. Started there when I was 15. After a few years, I became the director of food safety and quality and then restaurant experience. And I did that for 3 years out of the five. And once I got into college, I kind of realized that that wasn't my long term and started Premiere. I mean, it was pretty sudden. I made the decision pretty quick and then just kind of went for it, mostly because of the coaches I had at the time. They're very much just do it. Even if you don't know, just do it. And everybody around me was like, "You're insane. No, don't. Like, you don't even know it. You don't have no idea what you're building." And I said, we'll figure it out. I mean, we'll get there." And we did. I mean, we launched in June of this year. Premier Outdoor Movies of Texas did. And
Tell us about Premiere. Premiere, so people that are listening on here, what it really is and what it is that you do.
so Premier Outdoor Movies of Texas is the only fully white glove service, outdoor movie service in the nation. Um, We've already won two statewide awards in Texas, and we're known as the number one outdoor movie company in Texas and the number one outdoor event company in Texas in only 5 6 months. But like I said, we're the only fully white glove service. So we take care of everything. The client has to do nothing. That was actually the big part of why we got the contract with the city of Burleson and the city of Houston, was because their previous vendor and everybody else in the market, they kind of throw things off to you. You know, they manage most of the stuff that it takes to run an event, but we take care of everything. We take care of the equipment, we take care of the staff, we take care of concessions, we take care of seating, we take care of everything. We use the highest quality equipment in the world. We use the number one outdoor inflatable screen in the world. We use the number one projection in the world, 4K projection. We use our own sound technology, actually, that we developed. It creates more of a blockade to sound. So if there's any impeding sound around you, our sound waves actually will overtake that and it blocks everything else out. The sound waves don't bounce. So you don't have an echo when you're in like a backyard or in a big plaza surrounded by buildings. And the sound is very space driven. So we've never had a noise complaint from neighbors or buildings around where our events are at, because our sound stays within our space, but it's extremely loud. Um, but that's pretty much Premiere. I mean, like, it's the whole gist of it is we're fully
So
all white gloves. So
you're a one-stop shop for
yeah,
what people
that's
need.
it.
So and that's huge. I mean, when we think about business, obviously it's like who can do it better or who can offer most. And I mean, it
hmm
sounds like you're doing it. But you're not just the brains of the operations, but it seems like you're also very much into it. So you're also out there, I guess, operating with your team, with your
Oh yeah. I don't go to every event. I can't say that I do, but I do go to all of our big ones that we have, all of our contracts, I do go to all those. So I do a lot of traveling. And I don't do it because I have to. I do it because I enjoy it.
Mhm.
I really enjoy going to the events. The events are a lot of fun. Our team has a great culture. And that was something I learned from Chick-fil-A. I mean, I was in charge of the restaurant atmosphere and the experience that our guests and the team had within this restaurant. And that's it, just translated right over to Premiere. I mean, everybody on our, we actually had a guy last night that it was his first night with us. I hired him on Wednesday, and last night was his, I'm sorry, no, Thursday. Hired him on Thursday. And then last night was his first night on a event. And he like was texting me after, and he was like, that was like so much fun. Like I love the guys, and I love the feeling I had when I was there. And it's just, my big thing is Premiere, the brand, whenever I built it with alongside a few others, it was meant to be a company that brought joy to others.
Mhm.
And it's just when that screen goes up and that music starts, and last night we had about 400 people there, and the kids and the families were all running around. We had hot chocolate and complimentary popcorn. And when people walk up to the popcorn station, for example, they ask for a bag. They're like, how much is it? And we're like, oh, it doesn't cost anything. Like, help yourself. Like, have as much as you want. And the kids like just light up, and you can see the mom going, you're only having one bag, you know? And just all the smiles, like it's just finally, we continuously bring it up, but nobody can ever forget the last 2 years. And people were so just trapped, and they felt like they couldn't do
Mhm.
anything. And people still feel like that. They're trying to get out and do stuff. And this type of event is perfect for that. People can get out. They can go, sit out in the yard or the plaza area or in their backyard. And the kids, I will say, about after an hour, every single time, it never fails. After an hour, that's when the kids start to get really antsy. And so they'll start running around, and people will bring soccer balls and baseballs, and they'll start footballs, and they'll start tossing stuff and running around. And then all the parents are still watching the movie. But it's just so much fun. Like I love it.
You
It's
make it fun and create joy. Absolutely. You said a couple things already earlier when we first started, and that was procrastination. Most people tell you don't do it. Is there what ifs? Is there doubts? And there, people are so quick to opinionate. If somebody who's never done something for themselves or who's going anywhere is very quick to tell somebody who's trying to, don't do that. Whether it's fear, a lack of, whatever
Mhm.
it may be. But that is something I was going to get into a little bit later. So let's go ahead and get into that one now. So you don't procrastinate. That's no given. Before we went live, you were telling me about your routine schedule, if I may share. I mean, Wade wakes up at 4 or 5 in the morning. And that is
Mhm.
phenomenal. That's serial entrepreneur written all over it. You get up and you beat the crowd. You get the busy. Phone calls start at 8, 9 in the morning. By the time 8, 9 comes around, Wade has 4 or 5 hours already under his belt. You can't beat that. That's huge. So waking up early is definitely very disciplined. But you also mentioned your coaches, which are similar to the ones, same as I have. So how important has having coaches been for you?
It's been extremely important. I would say I was really confident before, back in March of this year, when all of the kind of ideas started flowing. That's when I got my coaches, was in March. I had no idea what I needed them for, but I got them anyways. Um,
Who pushed you to that?
I don't think anybody did. I think I just thought it was really interesting, and I was like, I would love to just get inside their head and like just start picking their brain. And it was just, it was kind of I'm very impulsive. I will say that I'm very impulsive. I will make a decision and I'll just do it. I'm very right brained in that aspect. Like I don't I don't really think of the consequences when I do something, which gets me into trouble sometimes. But it just, I'm very impulsive, and I just kind of did it. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, we'll figure it out in a little bit. And I remember coming home, and I have roommates and live in a college house. And I just came home and I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm friends with these people now. And they were like, how in the world? And I was like, I just said yes. Like, and you hear it 100 times. And I was like, I just said yes. And everything kind of started to flow. But I would say, like, whenever you said procrastination, made me think of this. Well, on my show, my podcast, we talk a lot about like mental structure because I do a lot of speaking with high schools and their business departments. And the biggest thing we see is like the depression and anxiety and the stress in high schools now, which is also influencing like drug use and all that kinds of stuff. And so they're having me come in, especially Burleson High School, where I went to high school at. Um, I go in there and speak once a month for an hour. And the biggest thing we talk about is like your mental space. Like, what are we consuming it with? What are we,
Mhm.
filling our brains with? And, you start getting into like the home life and all that kinds of stuff. And there's a bunch of different factors, but the main thing is what people don't understand is like the human race itself, whenever you're born, your brain is literally wired and engineered to keep a wall around you your entire life to protect you because your main goal as a human is to survive. Like every day you live, you may not
Mhm.
think about it, but your every single process that your brain is going through and making is how can this situation harm me? How can it, end me? And then your the main psychological makeup of the brain basically is just to protect you. And that's where procrastination comes from because your brain is constantly in fear that something is coming out to get it, that something coming is coming out to get you. And so you kind of just have to realize that. And once I realized that and I started studying all of that and understanding it was when things started to change because I just kind of started making the decisions and I was like, well, that's just my brain trying to not kill me. But I was like, going to this event, it's not going to hurt me. Like, and you just have to train your brain to kind of break through that wall of
That's
full
a good way to
on
see it. Yeah. Okay.
protection mode.
Yeah, yeah. Breaking out of your comfort zone for sure, no doubt,
Yeah.
stepping out. So I've asked this a few times, Wade, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be wondering because a lot of people look up to you, including myself. So how old are you, if I may?
I'm 20. My birthday's in February, so I
When
turned
in February?
21.
February
12.
12. Oh, wow. I'm on Valentine's Day. So a couple days.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
Probably 15 years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I believe, because a lot of people say, you can't, I can't even believe I'm saying this on here, but you can't teach old dogs new tricks. That's horrible. That's terrible. I believe you're never truly too young to teach or too old to learn. That's unacceptable. And again, it's almost like the same thing you're saying is you have to break out of that mentality of almost you can't. People everywhere around you tell you can't do this, you can't do that, and you listen to it because you have for your whole life. Now you start out so much younger, it's phenomenal. I will forever wonder what would have been if I started at 18, 20 years old, because I didn't. At 20 years old, I was spending, I'm sure, quite a bit of money, but it wasn't for the right investments. So you
Hmm.
have you have a whole new, you starting so much younger just sets you up for so much more success. And Wade, the reason we do these podcasts, I know I told you a little bit about them, is to motivate. There's a lot of people I think on the sidelines that are thinking about it, hoping for it, but they just cannot seem to take that first step of leap of faith.
Hmm.
When we do these podcasts, it's always to try to motivate, try to push them in there to get it going. And you said it perfectly, is many times or most times, I agree with you. Say yes and figure it out later. You're sitting there
Yeah.
trying to plan, you're trying to figure it out, and you're never going to truly really be ready. I'm 100% ready. Nobody's ever said that that's been successful. You're never truly ready because even when you get out there, now there's new problems, new issues, and now
Oh,
how do you deal with that? So it's all about taking that first step and just saying yes for sure. But so real quick, a little bit more on the coaches. You said obviously you jumped on and you've been listening to one of them, JT being our main coach. But how much has it helped you having them in your corner?
um, a lot. He's very special. um, to me especially, because nobody has ever been very direct with me. And I like the direct, like
Mhm.
just give it to me. Like don't sit there and try to make it sound better than what it is. Um, and that's exactly what he does. And a
Mhm.
lot of the times it's been a really long day and I get that feedback and I'm like, God, it just why do I do this? But then I wake up the next morning and I've reset and I go back and listen and read to everything, and I'm very happy that he's the way he is and how direct he is. Especially with all the people within the network that I talk to and work with, is everybody's there to help. And if you take it as they're trying to criticize you, then yeah, you wouldn't hang out with them. And some people's deliveries are not the greatest, but I know their intentions, and I get what they're trying to do. And but it's a lot of those times where, you know, somebody criticizes something and you get frustrated, that's like the biggest little seed, you know. And it's like literally one of the things that somebody said to me a few weeks ago was actually in the network. They DM'd me, and it was talking about how we mount the screens or something like ridiculous. And I was like, why are you messaging me about this? Like, you don't know how this works. And ended up, because they sent that, I started looking into it and I found a better way to do it that was cheaper, easier, more convenient, and the team loves it 10 times more. But if I would have just totally shunned that person away, and they're not even one of my coaches, right? They're just somebody, mutual relationship. If I would have looked at it at the same way and been like, they don't know what they're talking about, like, forget them, I mean, we wouldn't have done it. But we literally used that method last night. And in terms of like preparedness, last night's event, like on just say, when you said just say yes, the contract for last night, we got that back in August, and I had no idea how we were going to do this event because we had nowhere to stake the screen into the ground. Had no idea. And it's just an open turf field.
Mhm.
No idea how I was going to do it, especially because that screen that they used in September, which was the first event, was September 10th. That screen weighs 900 pounds. And so I had no idea how I was going to get that thing secured to the ground. But I had 2 weeks to figure it out. And so I was just like, yeah, sure, we'll do it. We'll figure it out. And, we did. We figured it out 2 days before the event, but we figured it out. And, you know, now it's turned into a 5 event contract with 12 more signed for next year.
And you're always learning. You never
Yeah.
stop learning. Yeah. So I'm going to touch real quick on the coaching because that's I think that's one of my, I don't want to say issues, but that's the how is it that you deliver? I have good intentions, but the delivery may be what I've been told is too military like, and most people are not. And I agree with what it is. It's like the same thing like my coaches. There's been times when something is going on wrong, incorrect, or whatever it may be, they don't sugarcoat it. They don't come around and give me a high five, attaboy, or at least you tried. They tell me, well, if you would have done this or that, it would have worked out. You can feel almost defeated in a sense for the time being, but those are, I feel like, what helps you. That's what teaches you because
Oh, yeah.
I've
Completely
always
agree.
said it. All of our lifetime, we always got a good jobs. We always got high fives. If those
Mhm.
worked out, people would be more successful. They do not. So I think a lot of times is a sugar coating, of course. But so you you got. I mean, I can only imagine how much success you're gonna mount to. Obviously, we'll talk about that as well. But tell me one challenge that you have besides this 900-pound screen that you got, where you encounter, and I guess one of the most troubled issues you ran into, and how did you overcome it?
Let's see. I'll tell you a funny one first. So this was actually a challenge, let me tell you. So I was the first person in my family to go to college, and I got through 3 years. I have 30 hours left, and I dropped out this semester because Premiere grew so big. And when I told the family, like, hey, like, I'm gonna go back, but like right now it's not where I need to be. Um, that was a huge argument and challenge to overcome for sure because they were not happy with me. But I will be going back. So please don't message me. You need to go to college. I know. Um, because I said that in another show, and then I got like 8 messages from people saying, "You need to make sure you go back to school." I know I'm going back to school. Um, what's another huge big challenge we had? I would say
Why go
right
back
now,
to school though? Just to finish it at this point, you're so
yeah.
close
I
down.
mean, I only have 30 hours left, and the other 90 already paid. Like I've already paid the other 90 hours. So it's like if I don't finish, I look at it like an invest. Like this is so crazy, but I look at it like as an investment. I was like, I've spent 50 grand already on school. If I don't finish it, I just wasted that $50,000. If I go finish it, at least there is a potential chance of an ROI. You know,
Yeah.
like that's how my brain processes it. But one of the, I would say the biggest challenge for sure that we've had to deal with is supply chain. I don't know if that's the kind of problem you're looking for, but we've had a major problem with equipment like right now, like getting equipment in to like
Mm,
scale because we're like if somebody wants to book an event with us right now, we don't have any open spaces till January, and which is not normal for this industry at all. Like my screen supplier was like, "Why are you ordering so many screens?" I was like, "Dude, I'm sold out to the end of December," and this is back in October, and he was like, "How?" And I was like, it's Texas, baby. I mean, what do you mean? Like, I mean, come on. And he was like, you do realize you're the only outdoor screen company operating right now, like in the world. And I was like, yeah, but people want events, so we're gonna do it. He was like, you realize it's gonna be cold? I said, people down here don't care.
mhm.
Get a coat. Um, they want to be outside. But our biggest problem is equipment. And which is crazy enough, the biggest problem we're facing right now, which it doesn't sound very big, but our biggest problem right now is there's no popcorn. The US is out of popcorn, which
Wow.
you would never think, but try to go buy popcorn right now on a commercial level. You can't do it. Like our supplier called me a few weeks ago and he was like, "Hey, I just got a shipment in." He was like, "How much do you want?" I was like, "Send me the entire pallet." Like I'm not gonna sit here and fight trying to find popcorn. He was like, we're not gonna get another shipment until like February. And I was like, are you kidding me? He goes, no, like we're out. And I was like, great, wonderful. But so we have to have it. I mean,
Mhm.
what else can we do? And so we've actually had to start outsourcing and trying to figure out where else we can get it from. But I mean, I got that whole shipment of popcorn. So I mean, we'll be good for a while, but that was the big thing for a while was where are we gonna get popcorn at? Like once again, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but I mean, that's one of our main things. I mean,
But
what
there's so
movie?
many moving parts, and there's little things even like that that so many things go wrong, and something like this does that could be enough to interfere with, if nothing more, your head. Now you got your focus on that. How can I overcome this? So I mean,
Yeah.
that's what entrepreneurship is all about: problem solving. You're always problem. Les Brown would say, when you're an entrepreneur, you're leaving a problem, in a problem, or you're headed to a problem. That's just the way that
No,
it is. And I think
exactly.
most people can't handle it, and that's why 9 to 5 salaries are so a thing, because so many people don't want to deal with this. They want to clock in, get out, and
Mhm.
go home, and I don't want to think about it. We
Which
as
that's one of my
entrepreneurs,
favorite. I mean, personally, that's one of my favorite things. I love trying to figure all of it out. I mean, are there some times that we don't figure it out in time? Yeah, but I mean,
but you
no,
learn. That's the thing. You keep
yeah, you go
learning. Yeah,
quicker.
you're better next time around. So, besides delivering fun and creating joy, what motivates you to keep going?
I think it's purely just the experience. Like, not only do I enjoy it, but I think that's another reason why the popcorn thing was so important to me was because that's like my biggest thing is like I just want to make sure I had to I'll tell you this. I had to learn this from one of my coaches. And it was whenever we started scaling and getting a lot bigger, I couldn't do the events anymore. And this is we launched in June. This is back in like end of July, beginning of August. And one of my coaches told me, he was like, you have got to start delegating. And I was like, but nobody can do it as good as I can do it. And he was like, no, they can't. He was like, so get used to it. He was like, as long as somebody can do it 80% as well as you can, you've got a great employee. And I was like, but 80% isn't good enough for me. He goes, then raise the standards. And so I was like, so I got to be 120% good. And he was like, yes. And I was like, okay. And that doesn't make sense at all. He was just telling me that to make me laugh and to make me get over it. But that's something I had to realize. But I wasn't satisfied with the 80% thing. So I put a lot of brand guardrails in and safety guardrails in the processes so that it was practically the same event every single time. Um, but my biggest thing is just experience. Like I just like last night, I mean, all day long, I was so excited to go to that event. Like the only ones I really don't go to are the backyard parties because there's just so many of them. But those big corporate events like that, I mean, I look forward to them all day. And like I got there 5 hours early, like just like get to the venue and see it and like hang out there. I did all my meetings there. Like I just love the experience.
Be a
Like
part of it. So
that it's just
we're down to 5 minutes. This is clearly not enough time. I can keep talking and wait for hours, and we will. We're going to do this again. But let me a couple of real quick questions. Wait. So I invest in mobile homes. I even
Mhm.
talked to you about getting into the state of Texas, which the market for mobile homes in Texas is phenomenal, all around every state in the U.S. But Texas is hot, no doubt. I'll talk to you about possibly doing some of this premiere TV on
Yeah.
maybe an event we did. So that's something we talked about as well. I know you invest in real estate, but quickly, is mobile homes in your near future?
Yeah, what's actually funny that you say that. There was about, oh, I don't know what it was. What was that? January, maybe? Like right before I started my real estate company too. I was looking at a mobile home park because I used to live in a mobile home park and
Mm.
not a park, but used to live in a mobile home. And back when I was like, I think I 10 years old when we moved out, but I loved it because we were out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody was around us. We had our space. You were just kind of out in nature. And yeah, you could have a house, but I don't know. The mobile home just had like a great aesthetic. Like I loved it. Like I told my dad, I was like, I'm gonna go buy me a double wide. And he was like, I think you should. And I was like, exactly. Like give me like a few acres and like give me a double wide, or they even have like the triple wides now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but no, for sure. At that time, I almost bought it was like a 27 plot mobile home park that had mobile homes on it. And I was like trying to find funding. I had no idea how to do it because it was like the first thing I tried to do. And then I was like, I gotta pull it back a little bit. But I would love to get involved with it. Yes.
Well, there you go. We got connections. So, let me see. So, besides investing in mobile homes with me, which that's coming, what is next for you?
Right now, we're really just scaling. We have 3 more markets in Texas opening next year.
Mm.
So we'll be launching Houston, San Antonio, and Austin.
Big
Right
areas.
now, we have Dallas, Fort Worth, and Lubbock that are launched.
Mm.
And then next summer, we'll be launching Vegas and
Oh,
talks about going to Canada. And then we also have conversation right now in Norway and Australia to open up branches there as well. Um, but in January, we're actually opening up a new experience. So we have the main movie company where you hire Premiere to come host your event.
mm.
But we're going to start an experience where we host the event and we sell tickets. And it'll basically be watch your movie in the park with a celebrity. So we have 2 celebrities confirmed for January already in Houston. And basically, you'll be able to buy a ticket. You'll have dinner with a celebrity. You'll sit on the couches with the celebrity. You'll watch the movie with the celebrity. You get pictures, autograph, and then an after party. So that's the future right now.
Send me more details on that for sure. I love to
Will
be part of
do.
something like that. Yes, that's what we do. So, all right, Wade. So, what is one thing you can say to anybody trying to get started, trying to invest in anything, trying to pursue entrepreneurship?
Just go for it. You're never gonna know
Mhm.
where it's gonna take you. You never know. You're never gonna know what problems you're gonna have. Um, just like I never knew I would have a popcorn problem or a steak problem or anything like that. But you'll figure it out because that idea will turn into your child, and you will do anything and everything in your power to protect it, and you'll figure it out. And people around you know a lot more than what you think. So I would say just go for it. I mean, that's what I tell all the high schoolers because all of them have all these ideas, and I just like I love it. I love talking to them about it because I remember when I was in that seat and I had all those crazy ideas, and it's just they don't cost anything. Like there was a video that Mark Cuban actually posted not too long ago, and he was like, "Why would you get a business loan?" He was like, "There's 1,000 different businesses that you can start for literally no money." And like he was talking to a high school actually, and he was like, just go start it, guys. Like, go get a 9 to 5, go work 60 hours a week, get the money to start it, go start it. He was like, just do it. And if, you go in and you fail, you do it again. Like, you know, everything you've built is still there. It's not like if you fail, it's like, a video game, it all just goes away. Like, all that money you've invested, like, all those assets are still there. So, like, just keep working at it and then you'll eventually get it. I mean, Premiere at the beginning, we didn't we weren't what we were now. I mean, it's taken us 6 months, which doesn't sound like a long time, but I mean, but it's still, I mean, the very big in our first month, we did 0 events. The second month, we did 3 events. The third month was when things got crazy, but that's because at the time it was only me, you know. I was out there, I was sending emails all day, every day. Like, I mean, emails to like cities and hotels and apartments and hospitals and schools like, hey, don't miss out, like we're the best of the best, please book us, like, and it worked. I mean, just emailing, like we didn't spend any marketing money, like ads and stuff. I just emailed, which
Persistence is what I'm hearing. I mean, you were
yeah.
persistent and you didn't give up. And that's, first month went by, you didn't really know exactly what's going on, which is typical, but you had no sales. Most people would have said the same for me. They would have left it at that and gone on
Mhm.
back to their everyday, whatever they do. You continued, and I know you said 6 months, but 6 months is not a whole lot of time, but I don't think 6 months came that great because just what it is. I think it very much had because of you, the persistence you push, you're still pushing. You seem hungry and very desire to have much more greater. So that's going to come. And that comes to anybody who continues and persists. So,
Mhm.
Wade, it has been great having you on here. I can't keep talking to you for hours. I'm sure you're busy. You've already been up for about 10 hours. So that's more than most
Yeah,
people. So I'm going to let you be, but let's do another podcast like this. Definitely let us know on when this celebrity thing in New Year comes in. I'd love to see how we can be part of it as well.
would love it. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. Well, Wade, thank you for having you on here. We'll share this on all of our social media. For all of you tuning in, thank you for watching. Thank you, Wade.
Thank you.